Hello everyone, and welcome back to your annual video from the Rah Rabbit. I apologise for keeping you waiting, all three of you. I know that I don't really make a lot of videos anymore. I'm trying to get back into doing more creative stuff. I know I say that all the time. But unfortunately work has kind of been taking priority, and I haven't been able to do as much of the creative stuff that I enjoyed doing in the past. But I wanted to come and talk to you guys today and give you all a bit of an update on my work around lucid dreaming and understanding and communicating with alters. So if you're new here, if this is the first video of mine that you're watching, my name is Max, aka the Rah Rabbit, and I do all kinds of different things, but one of my main passions and focuses in life is around lucid dreaming, particularly using lucid dreaming for personal growth, for understanding and exploring trauma, for general mental health issues, things like that. Now, a lot of my work started about 10 or so years ago. I have a diagnosis of dissociative identity disorder, but before I got that diagnosis, I was aware that there were other people around. I started hearing them when I was about 12 years old. So for a really long time, I would say that I was hearing voices. When I started to get help, I was initially referred to an early intervention into psychosis team because, with voice hearing and things like that, they assumed that it would be something more psychotic in nature. But through sort of years of trying to get help from various people and kind of hitting a dead end, eventually I was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. I went to a private clinic. And yeah, for me that definitely makes a lot of sense given the experiences that I have. So 10 years ago I was without help for the most part, and I ended up using lucid dreaming to better understand my experiences. So for example, I have quite a few different people up here, and I was curious to know why they were there and what exactly they represented. The one that ended up being probably the most illuminating and helped me a great deal with healing was when I worked with Darren. Now, Darren was the first voice or alter that I started hearing back when I was 12, and Darren was always very aggressive, very threatening, very mistrustful of people, very paranoid. And I'd always kind of seen him as this kind of negative force that was trying to harm me. And through lucid dreaming, I would try and find him in the dream and try and talk to him and try and get some answers for him. My reasoning was that in a lucid dream I have more access to my subconscious mind, so some of the traumas or things that I don't have conscious access to during the day, I would have a better chance of accessing in the dream state. And it ended up being really interesting because whenever I did manage to find Darren in a lucid dream, he was very frightened, very scared, trying to get me away from all the other dream characters. Just came across as just like a very scared child, which was completely not the image I had of him or the way that he sort of presents out here. And that helps me to understand that Darren holds a lot of trauma. He holds a lot of trauma that I don't have access to. I struggle a lot with anger. It's an emotion that I don't really understand or know how to process or know how to express. So I usually think of myself as not experiencing anger, but really it's Darren who kind of takes all of that. It's being compartmentalized and put somewhere else, and that's Darren. So over the last few years when I have been trying this work, things have really changed, and it's quite interesting really. So before, when I was trying to find my alters in a dream, I would be calling out their name, I'd be looking for them, and then when I found them, they would be a separate dream character that I could interact with like a separate person. But now I find whenever I try to find them in the dream, rather than them materializing in front of me or being like a separate entity, I now become them. And for me, this is really interesting because obviously, you know, with dissociative identity disorder, all the various alters or personalities are ultimately me. You know, that ultimately you are ultimately one person who has, again, had to split off and compartmentalize experiences that have been too traumatic, or, you know, various things like that. The way that my personality has formed is kind of separately. So now that I'm becoming them in the dream, feels a lot like integration in a way. So there was one time when I was trying to find Darren, and I became lucid. I wanted to find him and talk to him, and I approached like the nearest dream character and asked them if they knew where Darren was, and they told me that he was upstairs. So I went upstairs, and I was in a building where it seemed like there were just loads and loads of floors. And eventually I got to the top floor, and there was just one small room full of mirrors. And as I walked in the room, my reflection was Darren. And again, you know, it's pretty obvious that ultimately I am Darren. And what I find interesting with that as well is, like, Darren has a fear of mirrors. If he is ever around, or he's sort of, you know, in the passenger seat, so to speak, I can't look at mirrors. They have to go away. And I found it very interesting to be in this very small room, loads of mirrors that you physically cannot escape from, and just seeing me as Darren in the reflection was quite powerful. And this has happened quite a few times. Even in non-lucid dreams, I've had moments where I've turned into, like, I've become that alter and start expressing myself as if I'm that alter. And I often feel like, because I have to, I don't have to, but personally I keep a lot of this hidden in my daily life. It's a lot of hard work, but at the same time it's just second nature to me now. So I'm often really repressing them and keeping them away, which I know ultimately isn't good. But then I do feel like they do kind of express themselves a lot more in dreams now. So that was kind of really just what I wanted to update people on today. I'm hopefully going to be making more videos. I say that every single time. But of course, if you want to follow me on all my various social medias, there'll be a link tree description below. I'm sometimes on TikTok, I'm sometimes on Instagram. I kind of make various content. A lot of it is kind of creative and art based. If you like that stuff, feel free to check me out. But yeah, you know, it's good to see you all again, or see a camera again. Yeah, okay. My name is Max, aka the Raw Rabbit. I'll see you in the next video.